Mr Deputy Speaker.
Thank you, Member. I call the member for Minjerribah.
The Queensland Audit Office's review of the Minjerribah Futures program, initially priced at $20 million,
I'll have quiet in the House, please,
is scathing of Labor's mismanagement and incompetence in governance and delivery. It's left Stratty with very little to show for the $39.4 million it ultimately cost. It's not a good deal for locals or taxpayers. The Labor government didn't reconcile the projects, didn't provide proper public reporting on the status of funding, didn't make clear who was responsible for key elements of the strategy, so that important limbs of it, like seeking third-party investment, just never happened. And while governance standards weren't being met, Labor continued to provide the funding anyway. Of the $39.4 million in taxpayer funding that was allocated to Minjerribah Futures projects, $33.2 million of the approved funding was for the local traditional owner corporation known as QYAC. Now, you might expect that the Audit Office would examine whether this funding delivered tangible outcomes for the community. Alas, the Audit Office declined to audit QYAC's use of the funds. It had the power to do so. It observed QYAC lacked the capacity and skills required to accurately estimate the costs and deliver the projects it was assigned. The Audit Office held QYAC rarely met the financial or progress reporting requirements set out in the funding agreements. Where QYAC did submit financial acquittals, it did not provide sufficient detail and evidence to demonstrate how it used the funding to achieve the project objectives. And yet, it decided not to audit QYAC. Why? When I talk to locals, particularly in our local Aboriginal community, they are devastated by the report because they look around and can see so little for a huge sum that could have been transformative. As one of the elders said to me, the audit report asks more questions about QYAC's governance than it answers. I agree. I table professional advice commissioned by QYAC dealing with its governance and examining its financials. It reveals a concern that QYAC's financials are not accurate. It shows liability for late payment of superannuation obligations, likely non-compliance with payroll tax obligations, a failure to report income and reconcile the financials from subsidiaries, like Minjerribah Camping, for instance. It suggests that the records of the fixed assets of QYAC are not accurate. But when 165 members of QYAC sought a special meeting to ask questions about the report, they were shut down and denied that request. It shortchanges the Quandamooka people who deserve so much better. Since this report emerged, reports of standover tactics and intimidation within QYAC have intensified. But if all is well, why would threats be required? Why not just let the sunlight in? Local people understandably draw the inference that something is being hidden.